Yeah, if you're Canadian, you're probably going through it right now, whether it's the cost of living, the rising unemployment, just the living standards in Canada alone are decreasing every decade, especially the last decade, but yet we're probably in for even worse times ahead. With that being said, guys, we have some downer videos to go through today, so if you do at least come back to the channel every time, hit the like button, and with that being said...
Wait, hold on, let me get this right. We have an unemployment rate in Toronto at 9.6%. 9.6%. Nearly 1 out of every 10 people are unemployed in Toronto right now. I don't know how this isn't like a state of emergency right now, and how come we haven't really been hearing more about this, especially in the election talks, right? In these debates or whatever. This is getting very, very serious.
Yeah, 9.6%. Now, that's almost third world territory. You don't understand how bad that actually is. That's basically 1 in 10 working age adults do not have a job. They're unemployed. Think about the tax burden that is as well. If a lot of these people are claiming unemployment insurance, that's a burden on the taxpayers, also raising taxes potentially. But just in general, really bad to have that many people with nothing to do. Some of them might turn to crime, some of them might turn to drugs, some of them might turn to homelessness.
Why hasn't the government put a cap on rentals yet? It seems like a pretty legitimate thing to do. And when I speak about putting a cap on rentals, I mean that, for instance, a landlord couldn't charge more than, let's say, $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom basement suite. A landlord couldn't charge more than $1,800 a month for a 2-bedroom house. I think it would solve a lot. And also something else that I think should be illegal is when you have a landlord, let's say, and they have, let's say, a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom suite, and they want to individually rent out the bedrooms. So they're basically targeting students or single individuals to come and rent those spots. So that means it's making way less rentals out there for families, and it's also allowing them to charge anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a month for a small basement suite. That usually these basement suites don't even have proper living rooms. They're not even considered like what I want to say functional living quarters. Like, it's crazy. The government needs to step in and do something, and I think a rental cap would be like a legitimate thing to do. And if not, it's time to hike up our minimum wage to at least $25 an hour, because nobody can live and afford life paying rent, bills, groceries, car insurance, plus extra activities like besides, you know, just living. Something has to give, man.
You know, she has some like fair points, but I don't think what she's suggesting would actually really solve anything. They did have rent control before. I think they still have that in some areas in New York City, but having a cap on rentals is not really going to work because they do have a free market system here in Canada, unfortunately. So basically, landlords can do whatever the heck they want with their rentals, which is really unfortunate for people who do want cheap rentals. But she did make a good point about it's not really incentivizing families as well when people are basically just turning their rental unit into just individual rooms for single people. Obviously, you need families, and this is why like single family homes is such an issue in Canada, because it feels like there's so little of them for the rising population and even the amount of people are moving to Canada. Like, where are all the single family homes? Where are the affordable single family homes?
Canada's government debt level could reach $225 billion after a new proposed plan by the Liberal Party to spend almost $130 billion over the next 4 years. Carney's spending plan is actually higher than the Trudeau era, which does kind of make sense because we are in a recession. We're probably going to see a lot of spending on infrastructure and make work projects as unemployment falls, similar to what we saw during the Harper years when we saw the 2008 global financial crisis. For better or worse, increasing government spending is a typical response to recession, which is also visible during the 1990s recession period. A lot of people don't like this. I'm among them because I do want to see smaller government, but it didn't really surprise me per se, simply because Canada does have a lot of fiscal room to support higher growth. While our budget balance isn't great, our net debt to GDP is quite a bit lower than most other countries in the G7. Carney knows this as a former central banker, and he's been campaigning on that basis since the start.
It's crazy to hear that number, or just like to think about how much money it is, and that's how much debt Canada's in. And the spending is only going to get worse. And unfortunately, because we are in a recession, even though a lot of people won't admit that it's a recession, sometimes you kind of need to spend, but there's other ways about it as well. You can tighten things a bit, but when you have interest rates on the rise, it's going to lead to less businesses wanting to get loans, and then they can use that money to hire more people. That's why a lot of the times when there is a recession, interest rates go down, spending goes up, because you're trying to stimulate the economy.
Good morning, everybody. This is my rant to Americans who are whining about their groceries and everything else being too expensive. Welcome to our world. Try living in Canada your whole life. Our groceries have always been expensive. My sister lived in Iqaluit, and I went to visit her, and it cost $25 to get like a loaf of bread. In Sydney, where I live, by the time everything gets transported all the way across the country, where interprovincial tariffs and blah, 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 I'm paying $12 for a thing of base L and $10 for bacon. So don't be coming at us saying your grocery prices are up, because as far as I can remember, the last time I was in the United States, I went to a 7-Eleven. I bought a pack of smokes and I bought a case of beer. And guess what I left with? A dozen chicken wings for free, a dozen chicken fingers for free, and a large pizza for free. And that was at a 7-Eleven. What do we get here when we go buy anything at the gas station? Nothing. The only thing I've ever gotten free at an Irving in Atlantic, Canada is anxiety. Watching the price of gas go up. That's it. Nothing. We get nothing here for free like that. I remember I don't even drink, and they had huge, gigantic barrels full of dollar beer. My husband was like, Alice, what are you doing with that? I'm like, I don't know. I said, we got to buy it. It's $1 and it's in a barrel. So please. Denny's came to Canada. Guess how much a Grand Slam is here, people? $19.99.
I still think, that is expensive, but the Grand Slam, it is a lot, but I don't eat that stuff anymore. I try not to go to IHOP or Denny's. There's a lot of cities in Canada actually don't have IHOP. Here in Calgary, there actually is an IHOP, which is, I went there and it was disgusting. It was disgusting. If you like IHOP, let me know down below in the comment section. But she is right. Going to the States, my sister lived in New York for about 7 years, and this is New York City, a very expensive city. And I was surprised at how cheap it was compared to Toronto at the time. Can you believe that? New York City. I was surprised how cheap New York City is compared to Toronto.
Going on with Canada, honestly, the prices of things here make absolute no sense. So I'm going for Euro summer this summer, and I am going from Barcelona to Halifax on a direct flight for $200, okay? Super cheap and very nice, $200 international flight. And then from Halifax, that is inside of Canada, I have to go to Vancouver, okay? And it cost me $700 with a stop. It's not a direct flight, with a stop. So I can go from Barcelona to Canada for $200, but from Canada to Canada, I have to pay $700. And it's not a direct flight.
Oh, don't get me started on that. I have family in Toronto, so I frequently go to Toronto from Calgary, and I'm surprised at some of the flights. Now, sometimes we take the cheapest flights possible just to save on money, but they're very horrible flights. Like Flair, for example, is brutal. I do not suggest using Flair. I usually would prefer to use Air Canada, but the prices to go to Toronto from Calgary is just ridiculous now.
Is there a good argument that Canada is the highest tax country in the world? Hell yes, and it cuts deep. Now, I'll tell you why. On paper, we're not officially the highest tax country in the world, but when you look at what we pay and you look at returns, there's a glaring mismatch. Canada is not only overtaxed, it's underserved, and that's a real scandal when you actually look at the nuances of the countries that are officially the highest taxed and countries like Canada.
Yeah, like a lot of countries in Northern Europe, they have high taxes, but the quality of life there is substantially better than here in Canada. The quality of life has been getting worse and worse in Canada, and the taxes keep going up. So he's absolutely right about that. We are very underserved in terms of what we pay in taxes.
How comes no one is talking about how expensive it is to grocery shop in 2025? Like, I know 2024 was bad, but 2025? Oh my God. It's like you walk into a luxury department store and eggs and bread and milk Those are luxury items that you are being shaken down for. I feel as if when I do go grocery shopping, and best believe I do go often because I have a kid, I feel as if I have to be budgeting like I'm going on a vacation. I spend more in groceries than I pay for my electricity bill, my water bill, my gas bill combined when I go grocery shopping. And I do this twice per month, okay? And I know you have the ones who go out there very often, but I'm not made of that type of money, okay?
Yeah, going out, you just can't go out at this point. If you make average income, there's just no way you're going out at least once a week. There's just no way anymore in Canada. I just can't see that happening. We basically limit ourselves to going out maybe once a month, maybe once a week if we have a really good month. But in terms of just a regular thing, it's like once a month now.
On my way to go sell some precious family heirlooms because I lost my job and I need to pay rent and eat dinner tonight. So that's what we're gonna do, but it's okay because it's just stuff. Or I am not crashing out. I'm not upset because my neck is barren. My favorite necklace is gone, but it's okay. I'm not upset about it. It's fine. We're gonna go see how much money we got. All right, crash out's over. I got $1,500, so I'm feeling a lot better about the situation because now I can pay my bills, baby. Now we're back up and running. We're back in the green, puppy.
My God, going through like family heirlooms to sell just because of the recession that's happening right now is kind of insane. Gold prices tend to usually hold value or go up in price. So if you're willing to part with stuff like that just to get by and pay bills, that is really, really sad. But unfortunately, that is the reality a lot of people are facing here in Canada. Leave your thoughts about this video's subject down below. And with that being said, guys, I hope you at least learned something. I hope that you enjoyed the video to a certain extent. And if you did, please hit that like button and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.